And the decision-making process then involves the people of Nigeria through the elected representatives who have authority to pass expenditure and appropriation to spend money that belongs to the country.
Let's quickly come back on roads, because we have a lot, and I'm looking at the time is almost an hour, but we'll come back to roads, and we'll close on the issue of housing. Specifically for some Nigerians, they're worried about the Enugu-Onitsha road, and if you can put that with the second Niger bridge, if that falls within the purview of your ministry, because I've been checking and it looks like you're also in charge of those bridges.
Again, I think it's first important to say that because federal roads, as I said, pass through multiple states, they are long. So the practice has been not to award it to one contractor. So they are broken into sections, and that road, if I recall, has about between 3 and 5 sections. So over the years, you find that maybe one section is not budgeted for, and so the contractor stops work. We're trying to change all of that, so that if the road is going to cost 10 naira, just approve 10 naira, but don't budget and break them into section 1, 2 naira, section 2, 3 naira, section 4, 5 naira. Because the contractor that knows that his section is not there just takes his equipment and parks it. What I'm proposing going forward is that budget the 10 naira, let us pay each contractor on the basis of certificates done. You can still oversight us and you can investigate us against measured works. That's the work of quantity surveyors to say, oh, yes, 2 naira work was actually done. Now, a section of it was the one I can clearly recall was the Aba section. The contractor couldn't mobilize to site in good time for 2 reasons. As I said, budget came in May. We started disbursing in June. He had to look for a works yard to set up. We're looking for land. Secondly, by the time he got that, weather had overtaken. The water table in that part of the country, rains in that part of the country, just like Lagos, heavily during. So to mobilize to work was really difficult. But they eventually mobilized, I think, late in November. So in the new year, when the weather is dry, you will see some traction. They will gain traction. I think the contractor there is CCECC.
But again, it speaks to funding. You know, sometimes Nigerians wonder how the government intends to get money to fund some of these projects you just highlighted. And it becomes very scary for investors sometimes to come in because of the forex policy of the government, which is neither here nor there.
Well, I'm not an expert on foreign exchange, and I think the monetary policy for the country is the institutional remit of the central bank. But I think that if we get back to production of oil, and we take benefit of the imminent and the already existing price hikes, we should be in a position not only to at least improve the amount of cash that goes into the economy and stimulate ourselves back to recovery, and then start talking about growth. We should also be able to accumulate some decent savings in terms of reserves to give confidence back to exporters to our country that we can pay for our imports, and that will help the industries begin to import some of their raw materials and machines back, instead of the current situation where a lot of naira is chasing not enough dollars and creating a price hike. So production of oil, peace in the Delta, will have not only an effect on many parts of the economy, it would affect the differential in the price of the dollar because it's being driven by scarcity and demand. It will also help the states because it will improve FAC returns, and therefore it's easier to pay salaries and all of that. We should then see a gradual reduction in number of states hopefully not being able to pay salaries, and that will mean increased purchasing power. And that is the way the economy comes back to growth. People can put food on the table, demand.
Your Excellency, the concerns about many Nigerians sometimes is not necessarily that we want this now. They want to know what the plans are. I mean, with the work you're doing, you've talked about a lot of things you're doing. You've talked about roads. We'll end with housing, as Sulai said. But what's being done in places like Bayelsa? You've mentioned peace in the Delta like 3 times.
Yeah.
And most of the agitation is that there's no development there. Let's look at a place like Bayelsa. Are there any federal roads being built there?
We have federal road projects. As I said, there is no part of the country where we are not working. It may well be that where the pain is most evident is something that either isn't provided in the 2016 budget that we will deal with in 2017. We have a substation in a power substation in Bayelsa under construction. We finished the Bahrain power plant last year. It's in Bayelsa, and
is it up and running?
Yes, Bahrain was running until the gas outage. I'm not sure now. I don't have current recollection if it's back on. Because we just got back, I think Alaoji and Odukpani just came on late in December, and that's why we've been able to keep some stability, because we are getting gas from the eastern axis, because the western axis is a little more volatile than the eastern axis.
Before we go to Abuja, let's ask about the road. You passed through the road coming to the office, one other stretch of the road, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Perhaps you should tell us the situation of works on that road, now that we see that the work has reached the popular Kara Bridge that's between the Old Peak and the Bega axis of Lagos. What is the situation at the moment, and how long is this work going to take that has just started around the Kara Bridge?
I think the first thing is to say that I'm happy that the contractors have come back from their holiday very quickly and back to work. What we tried to do end of year was to ensure that even if they were going on break, they did not fully demobilize, so that we could do repairs here and there and all of that. I don't have the current timeline. I can check that and give back to you how long this section will take to complete. But the important thing is that we intend to do it with the minimum inconvenience and disruption, and we hope that people will understand that it is ultimately for their own good. It's another of the bridges that needs repairs. Bridges haven't been maintained for 4 decades, since perhaps after the time when Alhaji Okuno was Minister of Works. So we just built them as if they will last forever. They don't last forever if you don't look after them. Nothing made by man lasts forever, not even your suit, if you don't clean them properly after a while. So this is what we are getting back into. It will cause some inconvenience, but it will be for the long-term benefit, because the cost of building that bridge alone now is much more than what it will take to put it back into functional efficiency.
Mark,
thank you again, Sulaiman. Just 2 quick questions again. The first is on off-grid production. As when you were governor of Lagos, you did identify some bottlenecks which prevented state governors from being able to generate electricity and supply consumers. What are you doing now as Minister of Power to try and open up those bottlenecks and ensure that states that are interested in generating electricity for their citizens and residents are able to do so? The second is the plan on housing. What's the plan for affordable housing in Nigeria?
Okay, in terms of generation of electricity by states, there is no impediment to states' generation of electricity from when the constitutional provision was amended to make power a concurrent obligation. So in terms of generation, you can generate. Lagos State did it in 1999-2000 with the 240 megawatts power. But the real problem was in distribution, selling power on a commercial basis to homes. What we did when I was in office as governor was that we used private capital to build those power plants. Lagos State government didn't build any of the 7 IPPs that we did, but we became the guaranteed off-taker. We will buy the power if you build it, because it was cheaper than the combination of our diesel, our generators, and our then PNCN bills. And I remember some of the studies we conducted, we saved about 40% in what we used to pay, and we got much more reliable electricity for Adinyo, Iju power plant, which we used to power by generators. We built the power plant, our secretariat in Alausa, the High Court in Ikeja, the State House and the environs in Marina, the water works in Lekki, and the streetlights and water works in Victoria Island, and in the free zone. What we issued was a power purchase agreement. Once you sign that agreement that you will buy the power developer will go and raise money to finance the project. And on a monthly basis, they check what you use, they bill you, you pay. Now that is still there. What is interesting is that all that happened before privatization was completed. Now that it is entirely private, there's nothing that limits any state. Subject to regulatory compliance, take a NERC license, propose your tariff and all of that, and either be, and so the solar power that we licensed, for example, quite a number of them was being off-taken by the state governments in some of the states where they are.
I'll let you continue when we come back, but this time when we come back we'll look at the second question Mark may ask, which is the housing, and we'll also look at the Mina Road, the state of that road, knowing full well that flights have been diverted from the Abuja airport to Kaduna airport.
Are proposed
to be diverted, yes, because it will soon start according to the government. We're hoping that you explain to us why Kaduna Road instead of Mina Road. That'll be when we return. Stay with us.